Tonight we turn our spotlight on the story of Rumana Monzur and the author who brought her incredible experience to the page, Denise Chong. Chong's new book recounts Monzur's harrowing experience of domestic abuse in her home country. Monzur was brutally attacked and blinded by her ex-husband more than a decade ago in Bangladesh. Now she's sharing her powerful story of resilience and activism with the world. Joining me now, we have Rumana Monzur in Vancouver and Denise Chong in Ottawa. Thank you both so much for making the time.
Thank you for having us, Sarah.
Thank you.
Rumana, I want to start with you and that brutal attack at the hands of your husband. It changed your life in 2011. It made headlines certainly across the country, if not around the world. And I remember the details of that, and it was horrific. But it didn't stop you from pursuing your dreams. So talk about that.
I always wanted to learn, and then I guess education was my strength. I came to Canada to pursue my master's degree at UBC, and I continued to do that while it happened. I came back, but this time as a blind person. I went through 4 eye surgeries and also a nose reconstruction. But when nothing could be done to restore my sight, I decided to change my career. So started preparing for the law school admission test and ended up writing it. Thank goodness that I've got offers from different law schools across Canada, and now I practice in Vancouver.
That's wonderful to hear. Denise, what was it about Rumana that drew you to her and to her story in the first place?
Well, you can talk about domestic violence as a global problem across cultures, affecting millions of women, but it doesn't affect you deeply until you come to an intimate, personal story. And so I knew by bringing a narrative, I could bring the power of narrative to Rumana's story, and I knew that she had come out of it at the end. So at once it was a love story, then shattered by violence, and then in effect a true crime story, but ultimately also a portrait of one person's will and determination.
Rumana, many of the memories that are detailed in this book, they're deeply traumatic, they're very personal. How difficult a choice was it for you to share all of this in such a public way?
One of the reasons why I decided to get involved in this project is because I was thinking about my daughter, and then I wanted to document everything I was going through, my challenges at that time, because I myself was forgetting some of the things as soon as I was overcoming those barriers. So it was really important for me. She was just 5, wanted to document that, and from that desire I got in touch with my agent, and then who connected me with Denise.
Denise, I want to ask you about the kind of travel that you did for this. I know you're somebody who has traveled extensively to many parts of the world, but you traveled to Bangladesh as part of the research process in writing this particular book. How did that inform the way you approached Rumana's story? And I can understand why it would be necessary, but why was it necessary to go there?
Well, I had from Rumana's story, from Rumana herself, what it was like inside the marriage, but the marriage had walls around it. And so then I had to go to Bangladesh to understand how society reacted outside the marriage. So it was friends, colleagues at the Dhaka University where Rumana was a professor. It was relatives, and understand therefore why Rumana kept a decade of silence about the abuse within her marriage, and yet those outside didn't react to the red flags, didn't question what they thought was peculiar about Rumana's absence from family events, why she showed up in sunglasses at work. And then I also when I had to travel to find out more about her former husband's story, and there I had to dig into the justice system there. Rumana never did get justice. The husband was never charged and died in custody. And learn about the justice system being at the nexus of politics and political influence. So it was a very careful time of research in Dhaka.
Rumana, let me pick up on something that Denise just said there. which is that so much of your marriage you kept secret. Sunglasses to work, people not questioning your absences from certain events. I know you mentioned your daughter. You dedicated this book to your daughter, and at 5 years old, she witnessed this attack. Has she read the book, and why was it important for you, for it to be there, maybe for her to read it, or if not now, one day?
She still hasn't. She is just graduating this year, so has so many exams. So she will read it in summer, and I think one of the reasons why I'm not forcing her is because I want her to read it in her own time. I never, though it was a horrific experience for me, but I never raised her to think of it as a horrific experience, because I always showed her, tried to live a normal life, a regular life with her, so that she is not traumatized and then doesn't live on that. And we both of us got professional help. So in the end, I'm glad that it worked out well. And now I guess it is, she's 18 now, so it's a good time for her, good age for her, where she can understand the red flags that everyone saw but couldn't recognize. Even myself, when I was reading the book, I was, who is she? Looking at myself, that I wasn't acting like myself.
Rumana, I want to give the final word to you here and talk about the fact that stories of domestic assault and abuse do still carry a lot of stigma, and a lot of people who have gone through that don't want to talk about it, are embarrassed or are ashamed to talk about it, and you are here putting it in a book for everyone to see. So what do you want people to take away from that?
That's one of the reasons why I didn't share it in the first place, and that was so stupid on my part. And that's why I want everyone to know, because a textbook, I consider my situation to be a textbook case of intimate partner violence, and if people learn from it, can identify the red flags in their own life, can rethink about their situation and get out of that relationship before something like this happens to them. And I myself, something really bad happened to me, but that does not define who I am, and that does not define, many bad things happen to people's life, but those things don't define what they can do in their lives. I always believed in celebrating life, and I will continue to do it. I am doing it, and I guess that's the message that everyone should take away from that book.
Rumana Monzur, Denise Chong, thank you both so much for your time.
Thank you.